G'day and welcome back to 1001 Albums You Must Hear Before You Die. Today's album is The Next Day by David Bowie. This is his 25th album, but it was the first one in 10 years at the time, released in 2013. It was recorded in secrecy. Even his record company did not know that he was recording this. Everybody involved had to sign a non-disclosure agreement. So it was a really big deal. He had suffered a heart attack, a mild heart attack, because his producer Tony Visconti made a point of saying it wasn't a bad heart attack. He's in great health. And at the time, this was the interview that I read about this, which was printed in Louder Sound. That was the name of the place where I read the interview. Some of it's been quoted on Wikipedia. It debuted at number one. You imagine everyone's surprise at the time when it came out that nobody knew it was coming. There was no promotional material. It just got dropped, and then wow, it just went straight to number one. The critics, for the most part, like 90%, 95% of the critics really liked it. If you do bother to go and read or have a look at what some of the critics said, you'll sort of see why it is. I struggle with critics. I guess it's just one of those things. There's bad ones and there's good ones. That's all I'll say. If you just go for yourself and have a look, you might see what I mean about that. Now, the first song is called The Next Day, which features his producer, Tony Visconti, did the string arrangement. Now, he's got a few guitarists that he uses throughout the album, and it alternates between the three. But on this album, it's Gary Leonard and David Torn. His longtime bassist, Gail Ann Dorsey, plays on this song. Zachary Alford, who I believe he's played for him as well. So let's get into it. The Next Day. Already, straight into it, that the drums are like, boom, I'm here, let's start this. And the tempo of the song, the guitars, dun, dun, dun. And then before the singing even starts, that really snappy drum fill. Unreal.
I'm gonna say goodbye, he says, yeah. Junior cries, she begs of him goodbye, yeah. All the days she thinks of his love, yeah. They're whipping through the streets and alleys there. The corners and the baying crowd right there. They can't get enough of that doomsday song. They can't get enough of it all. Listen.
That's a really good bit because you can hear what the guitar's doing very clearly.
Listen to the horse, he tells her. He fashions paper sculptures of them, then drags them to the rip.
And notice this is really pro playing. You notice that all of the instrumentation, they're doing their best to support the singing, because that's what most musicians do. They support the singing. They see it as the main thing of the song. And in between the vocals, that's when they do their fancy stuff. That's when the guitar will do something different that stands out. The drummer will wait until there's a gap and go do do da, 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 do his little drum, like big drum fill.
There's bank in the cork, there's soggy paper bodies wash ashore in the dark, and the priest defended, now demanding from Big Girl of his wearing dressed as man for the pleasure of that priest. Here I am.
And having said that, right after I said that, you got a lead guitar over the top.
Bodies wash ashore in the dark, and the priest defended, now demanding from Big Girl of his wearing dressed as man for the pleasure of that priest. Here I am.
Gone opposite to what I said, the guitar started competing with him, but in a way, supporting what he was doing. It's sort of like the same way a string section would go up and up and up. It was kind of doing that.
Quiet time, like body left to rot in a hollow tree. Its branches throwing shadows on the gallows for me. And the next day, and the next, and another day.
Well, and look how he's serious. He sounds like is here. He's like, I'm back. That's what I'm getting. And hear the vocals there, how in your face they are, how he's just really into it. You can so tell.
leader, the purple-headed breed. First they give you
Wow, what a wild introduction song. And it's in the days where they stopped kind of doing this as more albums were digital, the less that they made albums with an opening track like this. These days, a lot they know because it's all digital. People don't listen to albums in this format that much. I do. And I really appreciate that when albums do that, they have that. Because that's the thing, it was for the longest time. The first song on the album was there to grab you, draw you in and go, keep listening. Definitely think they succeeded with that. Now, track 2 is Dirty Boys. I have had a bit of trouble finding out who played what, but from what I can tell, his longtime guitarist Earl Slick played guitar, as well as his producer Tony Visconti. Apparently, the only place I can find this source is Wikipedia, saying that Tony Levin played the bass on this song. If you don't know that name, he's one of the biggest studio bass players in the world. He's very, very well known. If you don't know him, I guarantee you have heard his work. If you know Sledgehammer by Peter Gabriel, you've heard Tony Levin.
Sledgehammer.
If you just watched pretty much most of Peter Gabriel's live stuff, he's usually the bass player. And then Steve Elson on baritone and saxophone. That's all I could find. So let's get into Dirty Boys. Don't take that the wrong way.
Tobacco Road, living on a lonely road. I will pull you out of there. We will go to Finchley Fair. Feather hat. I will steal a cricket bat. Smash some windows, make a noise. We will run the dirty boys. When the sun goes down.
That's an interesting tempo. I haven't listened to this album for a week, and as it started, it took my brain a second to figure out what the tempo was. And now you notice the tempo's picked up. Nothing crazy, but geez, that was wild. The way that song starts out so slow, and then everything's like just dun. I talk about this. If you've watched any of my other videos, I talk about things like that go unnoticed by a lot of people, that how tough it is to play so tight like that, where things only happen on and off and it's all got to be in time. It's done very well. But now it's sort of picked up the tempo, which kind of reminds me of his song Heroes. The tempo was.
When the sun goes down and the die is cast. When the die is cast and you have no choice.
And also there you can hear there's the guitar, but also accompanied by, I think, the saxophone. The down, 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 down. That happens. That sounds really cool. You can see why the way that they talk about Earl Slick, the way that he's playing in there, tearing it up. Lead guitarist, that's what they refer to Earl Slick as, and you can really hear it in this song. It's a really step back from the first song. It really takes you by surprise, I think, because it goes laid back so much, but it's just so tight and so well played. The next song is Stars Are Out Tonight. Now, once again, having trouble finding out who played what on it. All the sources I've looked at contradict each other, so I'll go with what I think it is. As far as I can tell, David Torn plays the guitar, back to Gail and Dorsey on bass, backing vocals Janice Pendarvis, Steve Elson on saxophone. Like the previous song, no mention of who plays the drums, but elsewhere, the way another article talked was that as if Sterling Campbell just played the drums on the whole thing. But then I know that's not true, because another interview I read, they talked about Zach Alford playing the drums on all the demos and being in the studio. So the way that article talked as if it was only Zach. So I can't make heads or tails of it. It's, this is where I do miss the old days where you could just have a CD and open up and check for yourself. Wow, what a great start to a song. The guitar, and the drums are big, nice tempo. The bass is walking, like it's, wow, like that's 10 seconds already.
Stars are never sleeping. Dead ones and the living. We live closer to the earth, never to the heavens. The stars are never far away. Stars are out.
I really like what's going on with the guitar there, actually. That down and just letting it ring out. That sounds really cool.
They watch us from behind their shades. Brigitte, Jack, and Kate and Brad from behind their tinted window stretch, gleaming like blackened sunshine.
And meanwhile, the whole time, the Gale on the bass is really funky, just on top of it. Awesome playing.
Stars are never sleeping. Dead ones and the living, waiting for the first move. Satyrs and their child wives, waiting for the last move, soaking up our primitive world. Stars are never sleeping. Dead ones and the living, they're jealous.
That's, I wish I knew how the drummer is that I can credit them. Like, I love that thing that they do right before the verse changes and they go,
They're jealous
just a really, nice, sweet sounding.
that the stars are out tonight.
See, that sounded just like Zach's drumming from the first song. That do, like that's hitting the snare and the floor tom at the same time. Boom, 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 boom. The tone of it, they're in the studio with probably the same drum kit mic'd up the same way and everything, but that way that's played, it sounds just like him. What can I say? That's awesome. The next song is Love Is Lost. I feel lost because all I can find is that David Bowie played keyboards and Gal Dorsey played the bass. So guitar will be somewhere, maybe Jerry Leonard, David Torn, or Earl Slick, one or all of them. Who knows? No idea who the drummer is. But anyway. Wow, that keyboard already, or synthesizer, is what it sounds like. And the way that's played, that dun, 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 just gives me Genesis vibes.
It's the darkest hour. You're 22. The voice of youth. The hour of dread. Darkest hour, and your voice is new. Love is lost. Lost is love. Friends are new. Your house.
See, that's a great example of a less is more thing. Notice everything's happening. All of a sudden, when the singing starts, there's not much happening now. And then I just noticed guitars. It's like a wolf howling over the top of it.
Is anew. Your mate. Say goodbye to the thrills of life where love was good.
How good was that pause? Not much happening. All of a sudden, it just kicks off. Wow.
Thrills of life where love was good. No love was better. A beautiful girl.
And that sounded weird. That just bass disappeared completely. That was strange but cool. Wow, and that guitar tone, it sounds very, very familiar, like one of his other songs. It sounds like they've just snatched a guitar tone from there. Yeah, look, seems very experimental. Like, wow, that's just so well done. I don't know. I'm just kind of a bit speechless about that, actually. Anyway, we'll move on to the next song. I'm just giving up trying to figure out who's playing what. I've tried my best to credit all the artists on there. So, where are we now?
Had to get the train from Potsdamer Platz. You never knew that I could do that, just walking the dead.
Wow, and tastefully done piano in the middle of that. Look, the whole, not surprisingly, after 25 albums, he knows what he's doing. He knows how to get out of the musicians and the engineers and everyone the sound that he wants.
Where are we now? Where are we now? The moment you know, you know, you know.
And you're listening to those chord progressions. If you're not paying attention, you think, oh yeah, I know what's going on, but it's very hard to predict what's going to happen next, which is so typical of David Bowie, because if you don't know, he's the one who often arranges the whole thing. He doesn't just go, guitarist, do what you like. He's very strict with the way things are done and all these chord changes and stuff. It's all him.
As long as there's fire, as long as there's fire.
Yep, that's an interesting track as well and fits in there quite nicely, I think. So we will move on to Valentine's Day. I love that straight away, that at the start of it is just the kick drum that they do. And then straight away that guitar riff, that do 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 do, just done on the low string. I love that. That twangy, clean sound. Wow, and what about that at the end of that game? That was weird. It was an unusual note. You don't have to be a musician, but you listen to that, you can hear it goes, oh, that was not where I thought it was going to land.
Valentine told me who's to go. Feelings he's treasured most of all. The teachers and the football star.
There's another bit where you think, oh, no, you know how the progression of the song's going, and all of a sudden that happens, it completely changes.
It's in his tiny face. It's in his scrawny hand.
That guitar riff, that's cool.
Valentine told me so. He's got something to say. It's Valentine's Day.
Yeah, that is, and the way that finishes, the drums finish that, it's just poppy, really cool. And the guitar, that guitar bit there, that was probably some of the crazy stuff they were talking about earlier. I think that's crediting Earl Slick. I think that's who that probably was. We'll move on to If You Can See Me. I don't know who that is, but that does not sound like David Bowie. There you go. There was an odd time signature in there as well. Those are the ones where you think, you're tapping along and thinking, and all of a sudden, next thing it's changed into the next bar of the song. Well, it's like 3/4 timing.
Wear your new blue shoes. I should wear your old red dress and walk to the crossroads. So take this knife and meet me across the river.
There you go. I was just caught it there. I'm trying to count it 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. And then that bit of the song, because I haven't learned it, it went 1 and 2 and 3, back to 1 again.
Towards the lights, the beacons above the hill, the stars to the west, the south, the north.
Wow, that's sounds complete like a prog rock. Like I said, I got Genesis vibes earlier from one of the songs. Yeah, this kind of sounds like early Genesis or Yes or any of those, maybe even King Crimson or something. It's very prog rocky sounding. And look, that's cool. I like that they've just chucked that in the middle of the album.
To the east. Now you could say I've got a gift of sorts, a fear of rear windows and swinging doors, a love of violence, a dread of size. If you can see me, I can see you.
So we'll move on. I'd Rather Be High. Nice melodic guitar work there. It's overshadowing everything else. There's a really cool drum beat happening, really cool bass line happening.
Never call this sunlit now upon the beach at Grunewald, brilliant and naked, just the way that authors look. Fair and lady, I'd rather be high. I'd rather be high. I'd rather be flying. I'd rather be dead or out of my head than training these guns on those land.
Yep, that's pretty good as well. So we'll move on to Boss of Me. See, that's giving me Peter Gabriel vibes. If that bass, that's got to be Tony Levin, because I don't know if he's influenced that he, as I said here, he played a lot for Peter Gabriel.
Tell me when you're sad. I wanna make it cool again.
Again, with that saxophone and guitar playing the same riff, that's it. That really sounds fat.
I know you're feeling bad.
And the bass is doing it too.
Tell me when you're cool again.
And the bass, that sounds totally like Tony Levin, how he would play on a fretless bass, probably. That throwing those little in the middle there. Everyone else is just playing this one thing, and he's like, nope, I'm going to chuck this thing. Sounds like him. And how that song just changed so drastically like that. I'm loving this already.
spins on your lips. Life has your mind and soul. It spins on your hips. Who'd have ever thought of it? Who'd have ever dreamed?
See, if Tony Levin, it's like he's the lead guitarist, the way he's playing the bass there. It's like he's the boss. You listen to Sledgehammer, that song by Peter Gabriel, he does exactly that same thing in that song. It's like he's the boss of that song. And he just seems, as a personality, he's like a laid back dude. And I don't think this is a thing like I'm taking over and I'm in charge. It's just something about the way he plays. And if he wasn't so good, he would inspire more people to play bass guitar. But the problem is, you listen to him play and then you get a bass and try to play what he plays, and it's just damn near impossible.
Would be the boss of me. Would be the boss.
And then the guitar actually comes out down, 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 like. And how good is that drum fill? Tasty. Everyone just trying to keep up with Tony Levin. It sounds like to me.
These wings of steel, the small town lies.
That's just crazy. That is really crazy and cool at the same time. I don't know if you look again. I crap on about this, about having a good sound system. Headphones are like a really good way, and I use the Audio Technica headphones, which I got recommended. Europe, they're about 150 euros. Not crazy expensive, but they use a cord. Is the only problem I have with them. If there's a problem, there's no other problem audio-wise. I just notice that when I go from them to my Sony XM4 headphones, which are really great headphones, especially for outside and for noise cancelling, I just can't hear as many things. That's the reality of it. That's what I just notice as well. And to me, that bass playing of Tony Levin is just kicking me in the face constantly as I'm listening to it. So we'll move on to Dancing Out in Space. Wow, it kind of sounds like Out of Space.
Cutting through the water, hand upon the coast, to the city of Solid Isle, through the kingdom of the boats. Send your friend away now, let him sail back home tonight.
There you hear that wow. Could be a keyboard. I don't know what that is.
Something like religion, dancing face to face. Something like a drowning, dancing out his face.
What unusual vocals that he's done there too. It sounds like a kind of a tritone. I don't know if I should even demonstrate that, but it's one of, some people say it's evil, but this is a chord that's just like a fifth chord and just those two notes. But if I substitute this note with this one, it becomes a tritone. Notice how odd it sounds? That's kind of what sounds like he's going on with the vocals there.
No one here can see you dancing face to face. No one here can beat you dancing out his face.
And still that that's cool sounding. There's a lot of weird sounds in it, which really suits this concept of outer space. And now there's like a guitar solo coming over the top from what it sounds.
Silent as George rolling back, mist and silhouette. Girl, you move like water, you got stars upon your head.
Look, that's a really good song. Again, it sounds experimental and typical of David Bowie to not do what everyone else is doing or not do what he's done before. He really apparently is big on that. So we'll move on to How Does the Grass Grow? Oh, how good was that? Like the dun 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 dun, boom, then complete change of the way the song is played. Let's.
There's a graveyard by the station where the girls wear vinyl skirts and sandals. How does the grass grow?
And those vocals sound crazy. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Where do the boys lie? Mud, mud, mud. How does the
And what that's happening, the bass is going up really, really high. Do, 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 do.
grass grow? Blood, blood, blood.
And that's a cool, so like a little brief solo, like start, stop, doing little bits at a time. And I would, like, despite what I said before, like all the arrangement, all the chords, everything being played will all be David Bowie choosing all of that. Solos are not usually. Usually the guitarist, so they'll just go, here, play a solo that suits this song in this way, maybe. So I'm tipping that's the guitarist that's chosen to do it that way, and I think nailed it. I've only listened to this album once, and it was over a week ago, so it's like I'm hearing it for the first time. It's crazy. But at the same time, I'm still enjoying it. Some albums you could listen to a few times, but I liked this the moment I heard it. So You Will Set the World on Fire. Wow, how Roxanne, it's almost metal, old school metal, like Black Sabbath or something. Awesome.
Midnight in the village, see the lights of candles from bitter end to gaslight. Bias leaves the stage. Old takes notes when the black girl and guitar burn together, hot in rage. You've got what it takes. You say too much.
You know what it's kind of reminding me of now? I know it sounds nothing like it, but it's got the crazy train vibe. It's not even the same notes.
You will set the world, baby. You will set the world on fire.
So you notice here, it's that now it's like look, it's the tempo's picked up and it sounds nothing like Crazy Train anymore.
Come work the scene, babe. I can see the magazines. I can hear the you were setting on fire.
Sounded like a key change. Good guitar tone too, and like every guitar tone on here has been great, but there's something about that sounds really, really great.
Kennedy would kill for the lines that you've written. Van Ronk says to Bobby, she's the next real thing. Crowds in the half-light screaming like a banshee. You're in the boat, babe, we're in the water.
That's a really cool bass line through that. Everything else is doing one thing, but the bass is do 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 do.
I can hear the nation. I can.
Which, as I'm singing that do do, it sounds like the riff from the start chucked in the middle of there.
Nation cry. You set the world, babe. You set the world on fire.
So I don't know if you noticed that it's playing. It sounds a certain way, and then all of a sudden it goes da da da. Like it sounds like a key change to my ear. I haven't learned how to play any of these songs, but yeah, this album's getting crazier as it goes on, and I'm loving it. And that sounds like guitar played through a pitch shifter, so it's like made the guitar go up a whole octave and playing up high. Like I think probably the most famous one people know, David Gilmour from Pink Floyd does that a bit, but also Tom Morello might have done it around about the same time. From Tom Morello from Rage Against the Machine loves using that too.
No one ever saw you moving through the dark, leaving slips of paper somewhere in the park. Well, I'm gonna tell, yes, I've gotta tell the things you said. When you're talking in the dark.
Noticing that drummer boy, the marching beat there, that's cool.
And I'm gonna tell the things you've done when you're walking through the park. Sunlight on a thriller street, Phil Collins and Starson's needle on a crowded train. I bet you feel so lonely you could die.
Wow, that totally gave me vibes of Paradise by the Dashboard Light by Meatloaf, or I think it's that song. It just kind of reminded me of Meatloaf, the way that ended there. Wow, how deep is that bass? It might be a 5-string bass. Fretless bass too, if you notice the way that sounds like there's no frets.
Then we saw mission's dog trapped between the rocks, blocking the waterfall. The songs of dust, the world would end. The night was always falling, the peacock in the snow. And I tell myself, I don't know who I am. And I tell myself, I don't know who I am. My father ran the prison. My father ran the prison. I can only love.
This is again, I say reminding, but even though it sounds nothing like it, but it reminds me of Ashes to Ashes. I think that was released in 1981 by David Bowie. It's like a newer version of that, but again, nothing like that song. It's just weird how it reminds me of it.
Tell myself
I don't know who I am, and I tell myself I don't know who I am. I am a liar, I am a seer, but I am a liar. My father ran the prison.
Well, what a great song to finish off an album with. I think often, if you've watched any of my videos, you know I see albums as a whole package. I'm not a fan. I've never really said this on any of my other videos, but in the 90s I became really dead against the compilation albums. Initially, when I was a teenager, I saw them as if there was one or three songs on there that you liked, it was worth buying them, but they were just random assortments of songs that had nothing to do with each other, no theme, nothing. Whereas you look at an album, is like it tells a story, and they've all been put together for a reason by the same artist. Putting soundtracks aside, they can have a common theme. That's the exception to the rule. I do like soundtracks. But albums, they kind of tell a story. Like I always talk about the opening track drawing you in, and then the song. I love albums that go up and down like this one. It was fast-paced and slow, and then there was crazy songs in there, unpredictable, and then it finishes with this massive song like this, but it's a slow pace. It's like, this is the only album you're going to listen to today. Great, because it brings you back down at the end. Anyway, I can see why most of the critics like this straight away, why the public jumped straight on it, and it went to number one in the UK, but it still went to number one nonetheless. Hopefully, if you've listened all the way right to the end here and you've listened to every part of what I've shown you in each of these songs, I may have edited some of the verses that sound similar to others to make for the video to not be very long for you to watch, but to give you an idea of what the album is about, so you don't miss anything. David Bowie is one artist that is well known for being in the 1001 albums you must hear before you die multiple times. He has multiple albums in there. I can see this is very deserving of being in there. If it's not obvious, I didn't listen to it at the time. I don't know if I really should admit, but okay, if you made it to the end of the video, you deserve to know some stuff about me. My confession is that I didn't really get into David Bowie until well after this. I didn't start to appreciate him and what he was about until maybe a few years after this was released. I was on the David Bowie train before he passed away and before he released his last album, Black Star, because I remember watching the music videos to that and some of wow, that just really got me. The last song, look, I think it got released after he died, and he's saying hello from up in heaven. It was just like, pretty sure that's how it happened. That's how I remember it anyway. So if you're wondering why I'm talking about this album, like I wasn't one of the people waiting for it to come out, or when it came out, I was like, oh, wow, David Bowie album. Yeah, I was look, don't get me wrong. All of the songs he released, I loved. I liked his music, and this project of the 1001 albums is making me realise which artists I've slept on. Which ones I was a little bit too lazy. Why didn't I just listen to albums? I'm obviously a lot more brave and happy to do that these days. So I hope that I did that justice. I hope that was enjoyable and you got as much out of it as I did, because that was really good. So as usual, thanks for watching. Thank you, Mother, for the rabbits.